Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. May we request everybody to take your respective seats, please? We'll be starting in 5 minutes. Thank you. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. If I can have your attention, please. We'll be starting in a few moments. So if you can, please take your respective seats. Thank you very much. To the ushers and the usherettes, your attention please. Can you please guide all our guests to their respective seats, please? Thank you. Oh, and also, if to those who want to, I'd just like to share that we are also being streamed live. So for those who are interested, the URL is bit.ly/UPRI-NOAA 2017. So that's bit.ly/UPRI-NOAA 2017. Thank you. All right, now that everybody's settled, let us all stand up for the entrance of colors by the UP Vanguard as we give reverence to the Philippine flag and sing our national anthem. You may now be seated. Thank you. Before we continue, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Ambassador Maria Cristina Dirks, UP President Danila Concepcion, Chancellor Michael Tan, Secretary Judith Tagiwalo, Congressman Joey Sarte Salceda, Honorable Alfredo Pascual, Secretary Vernice Victorio, Commissioner Noel Garlan, former Senator Gerson Alvarez, UP Systems VPs, Chancellors, Vice Chancellors, Deans, Faculty, and the rest of the UP community, good evening. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Good evening. It is our great honor that you are present at this very significant occasion as we formally launched the revitalized University of the Philippines Resilience Institute with the integration of the UP Nationwide Operational Assessment of Hazard Center as its core component. My name is Oscar Lizardo, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies for tonight. We would like to begin this momentous event by emphasizing the multidisciplinary solution not only through science and technology, but through arts and humanities as well. To our country's disaster problems by the UPRI, spearheaded by a UP President and its Executive Director. It is UP's mandate as a national university to engage in uplifting the nation's status. In line with this, we would like to present the invaluable contribution of the UP College of Fine Arts through an artwork rendered by its former dean and university artist, which aptly depicts UPRI's philosophy. Entitled Inang Kalikasan, it depicts Mother Nature, who gives birth to all harmonious and contradicting relations of all living and non-living things. These are involved in the cycle of life that without which existence will not be possible. The air we breathe, the limitless space through which birds spread their wings, the trees that provide us homes and food for a variety of creatures, and also protect us from soil erosion, floods, and other calamities. The soil which provides space for plants to grow and provides a vibrant environment for insects and other animals, the sea that provides us with salt and other minerals, and fish and other marine life which maintain the ecological balance and cycle of life. This artwork fully embodies UPRI's firm commitment to provide its unrequited service to the Filipino people. Our artist, who exerted his effort and creative imagination to visualize UP and UPRI's vital role in nation building, is Professor Leonilo Neil O. Doloricon. Palakpakan po natin si Sir Neil. Sir Neil currently has an exhibit at the National Museum of the Philippines and is respected as one of the major pillars of social realist art. May we call on UP President Danilo Concepcion and UPRI Executive Director Mahar Lagmay to join our celebrated artists on stage, please, in handing over our symbolic tokens to our esteemed guest speakers tonight. Sir, here you are. And may we also call on Representative Joey Sarte Salceda to receive our simple yet meaningful gesture. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. By the way, Sir Neil, ngayon ko lang po nakita yung inyong artwork at it is very impressive. Thank you very much. Palakpakan po natin ulit si Sir Neil. Okay. So empowering communities which constantly remain as a fundamental and uncompromised goal of NOAA proved to be influential in averting more than 15 potentially fatal calamities since 2012. This has been and will continue to be done through the cultivation of competence, thus excellence by training science experts yielding dependable, comprehensive output and appropriately disseminating probabilistic, multi-scenario-based, multi-hazard maps. Having UP NOAA Center to propel UPRI as an inclusive, multidisciplinary approach by university system will ensure the creation of effective and efficient capacity building programs which are essential in forming sustainable development plans that will benefit all our countrymen, especially the poor and the marginalized sector. To learn more about these, let us all watch this short video presentation.
We used to think we are at the mercy of natural hazards. Before 2012, disasters with massive loss of lives happened almost every year. In 2004, floods and debris flows killed more than 500 people in Infanta and Dingalan. Then there was the unprecedented Mindoro flood event. A debris avalanche and debris flows killed thousands in Ginsogon, Southern Leyte and Mayon slopes. And the Typhoon Frank floods happened in 2008. Even Metro Manila was not spared from Undoy. Then there were the Pepeng floods in 2009 and the 2011 Pedring and Kel floods in Pampanga. And in 2011, Sendong caused thousands of deaths and devastation in western Mindanao. After 2012, mainly because of the Pre-Disaster Risk Assessment or PDRA, many potential disasters were averted. Examples include the Habagat events of 2012, 2013, and 2014, the flood in CDO a year after Sendong, Ruby storm surges which washed out 1,664 houses in Daram alone, Butuan floods during Agaton, massive floods in Tagoloan brought by Senyang, Ineng floods in Abra and Lawag rivers, the world-class debris flows in Gabaldon, Nueva Ecija during typhoons Lando and Nona, floods from super typhoons Karen and Lawin, and more recently, the hazards carried by Typhoon Nina, which barreled through the southern part of Luzon.
So it was 2012, early part of August, nung nagsimulang bumagsak ang malakas na ulan dito po sa lungsod ng Marikina at sa paligid. So, we are fortunate dahil during that time ay ang project NOAA ay existing na. So, palagay ko it's still in its early stage of development, pero sa Marikina we have access to it. Nagamit namin in real time. So, we are armed with the information. Project NOAA is our lifeboat in the city of Marikina. Project NOAA can be an ark for all Filipinos in our country.
Ang Marikina ang isa sa mga unang nakinabang sa Project NOAA kasi kami ang unang tinuruan kung paano gamitin yung website or yung application. So, dahil doon, malaki ang natulong nito kasi lalo na sa pag-ensure ng zero casualties. Hindi lang nung Habagat 2012, kundi pati sa mga sumunod nung 2013 at 2014.
When Typhoon Pablo was predicted to pass the area of Cagayan de Oro on December 4, 2012, we were actually prepared because Project NOAA had already been established and that it was providing timely information to all the LGUs in the path of the typhoon. About 2 hours before the flash flood reached Cagayan de Oro, we already had advanced information from Project NOAA allowing our LGU leaders to demand a forced evacuation of the low-lying areas in Cagayan de Oro. And that is why we're proud to say that during Typhoon Pablo's wake, Project NOAA was instrumental in resulting a zero casualty rate for Cagayan de Oro. In behalf of the Cagayan de Oro business community and its leaders, we would like to thank the University of the Philippines for taking on Project NOAA. This is a very important tool by which many LGUs will be able to provide timely information that will mitigate disaster in times of typhoon and other calamities.
tapos pinakita namin sa kanila kung ano ang sitwasyon ng possible situation na mangyari. In-emphasize namin yung storm surge dahil sa actual na pagtakbo ng oil, kami talaga ang center, yung kami talaga ang center. So, Thursday, ng tanghali, wala na talagang tao sa coastal area namin. Evacuate na namin lahat.
Bakit po?
Dahil sa storm surge, dahil kami ng Institure,
Saan niyo po nakuha yung informasyon na yun?
sa NOAA. Kasi palagi namin tinuturukan yun eh.
Also, Project NOAA is a project we're part of the government that has very, very high capacity in terms of producing hazard maps at very high resolution, or resolutions that have not been shared, for example, with these LGUs before. Considering what happened with Yolanda, we thought it was very important to partner with an agency such as Project NOAA in order to work with these LGUs to improve their DRM systems.
When Typhoon Haiyan happened, there was a great need for high resolution, accurate, and open and very accessible geohazard data. Because such precise information and such open information was necessary in making the recovery, reconstruction, and rehabilitation plans. Project NOAA immediately sent us, the teams on the ground, both the PDF and the GIS files. Hence, it helped the local governments and communities understand their risks and vulnerabilities better. It helped the stakeholders identify the geographical implications of the projects on recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction, because people wanted to build back better. In fact, in D1, after all of the mapping using the NOAA data and other geospatial data from other government agencies, the evacuations were guided during the preparations for Typhoon Ruby, which happened a year after. I believe that by having high-resolution data sets from NOAA, which were integrated in local maps and plans, that contributed to the zero casualty of D1 and Typhoon Ruby, which happened in 2014. I really recommend Project NOAA and the use of their data for other municipalities because of the reasons I stated, because the data is open, because the data is accurate, data is in high resolution, and data is accessible. NOAA goes from making maps for people, they go beyond that to helping people have access to the maps, not only to PDF and printed maps, but also the open format GIS files. And finally, they go beyond that to enable people make the maps themselves and help people become agents of their own recovery.
Po, paano po umabot sa inyo yung balita na magkakaroon ng storm surge?
Actually, tinignan namin sa computer sa internet yung report ng Project NOAA.
So may internet pa kayo at that time kasi ganong kaaga po? Isang araw, dalawang araw?
Dalawang araw pa na may posibleng magkaroon ng storm surge.
Meron po bang bukod dun sa listahan, may tinignan pa kayo, may mapa ba na kayo nakita? Ano po ba ang nangyari? Naibigis sa mga tao?
Yung ginawa kasi namin meron sa evacuation management plan. So once leader is alerted to preemptive evacuation, we follow. Salamat sa Project NOAA kasi malaking tulong para sa amin.
Typhoon Agaton has caused one of the worst floods in the history of Butuan. Tumagal po ng mahigit 2 linggo ang pinsalang idinulot ng bagyo. Isa ito sa pinakamataas na flood level sa Agusan River na umabot sa 4.2 meters. 112,000 po katao, or about 22,000 families, ang lumikas at nailikas doon sa mga itinalagang disaster evacuation sites. Wala pong namatay as a direct result of the calamity. Ito po ay dahil sa readiness ng city government. Isang linggo bago nangyari ang baha, we were already warned by Project NOAA about the big flood coming our way.
Nagpasalamat kami sa website ng Project NOAA.
tumutulong po. Kaya siguro po during that time po sila, without information, probably siguro yung devastation might be of greater scale po dito sa Palawan.
Ang Project NOAA po ay hindi kami iniwanan. Sinamahan po nila kami sa loob ng event ng bagyuang ito. Siya po ang kasama namin at yun po ay lubhang nakatulong. At sa totoo lang po, ito po ay siyang tinuturing namin isa sa mga nakapagligtas ng mga tao dito sa amin. Dumaan po ang bagyong Lando at Nona. Awa po ng Diyos, wala pong kaming naging casualties, wala kaming namatay na tao, walang buhay na nabuwis po sa mga bagyong ito.
Since 2012, Project NOAA has been working to improve the Filipino people's capacity to prepare against disasters. It does this by undertaking advanced multidisciplinary research and assessment of natural hazards. Project NOAA translates scientific information into simple, accessible, and straightforward tools that enable local government units, community leaders, policymakers, and other stakeholders to prevent and mitigate disasters. An important part of Project NOAA's work is the enhancement of existing geohazard maps. Now rendered in high resolution up to the barangay level, communities like those in Eastern Samar have a better opportunity to understand and assess the potential hazards they may experience.
Talaga napakahalaga talaga sa buhay namin. Kaya gustong-gusto ko talaga itong naka-attend ako. Natutuwa talaga ako dahil nalaman ko talaga ito sa katotohanan at hindi lang ala-ala sa mga tao. Maghahanda na talaga ako at sa mga katawan namin sa barangay. Gagawin ko na talaga ang lahat dahil alam ko na kung paano kami lilikas kung may darating na mga disaster.
With the integration of the UP NOAA Center, the UP Resilience Institute has been revitalized and will definitely provide sustainable solutions toward a disaster-resilient Philippines, not only through science and technology, but arts and humanities as well.
Now with that, UPRI will certainly deliver reliable, understandable, and timely data that is open and free to the public at all times. Before I introduce our first speaker, UPRI would like to bear the rationale behind its logo, which was rendered by Professor Jose Alberto Joey C. Taniedo from the UP College of Fine Arts. Nandiyan ba si Sir Joey? Hi, Sir Joey. Please stand up. Palakpakan po natin Sir Joey. So when we talk about resilience, we usually refer to human capacity to go on with life. It is the capacity of humans to bounce back and continue to pursue their sense of being and living. The logo design of the UP Resilience Institute is a symbol of this human trait. The logo design is a graphic representation of human cooperation, unity, and solidarity. These are the three graphic images that would complete the processes and relationships that would operationalize resilience. These are the three major symbols arranged in an integrated manner. One symbol represents the academe, which is the UP Resilience Institute, where researchers both in the sciences and humanities are conducted. Another symbol represents the policymakers, which is the government. This sector will be the major vehicle in delivering services that would link the academe and the people. The third symbol is the people themselves, whose cooperation and effort will bring success to the concept of resilience. The unification of the three sectors will complete the character of human resilience. Sir Joey has been a faculty of the Department of Visual Communication in the University of the Philippines College of Fine Arts since 1982. He handles courses in advertising design, editorial design, photography, and production for electronic media, and a coordinator for technical courses on photography and TV production. He was a member of the National Committee for the Visual Arts of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts from 2011 to 2013 before being the head of NCVA of NCCA from 2014 to 2016. Again, Sir Joey, maraming salamat po sa pag-develop ng logo namin. Thank you po. To talk more on UPRI and the NOAA Center is a renowned academic who I know very, very well because I have been working with this person for a long, long time. No? So I have been privileged in representing him in our organization in many affairs. He is an academician of the National Academy of Science and Technology and a professor at the UP National Institute of Geological Sciences. He received his bachelor's and master's degree from UP, holds a PhD degree in the earth sciences from the University of Cambridge, and was a visiting scientist at the Geophysics Department of Stanford University. He has published more than 70 articles, mostly in international ISI journals. He is a leading and local international scientific expert on natural hazards and maintains a reputable status in his field of expertise in the international local scientific community. A perfect fit for the office and position that he now holds. Being a passionate and devoted academic is an understatement to describe him. He remains steadfast in pursuing what is right and needed despite the many challenges to ensure that all Filipinos are alive and safe in times of catastrophes. Mga kaibigan, boss ko po ito, kaya palakpakan po natin ng malakas. Let us all give a round of applause to Dr. Alfredo Mahar Francisco A. Lagmay.
Maraming salamat, Oscar. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Nais ko pong espesyal na batiin ng mga pangunahing pangdagal na si Honorable, parating pa lang, Senator Loren Legarda, Honorable Congressman ng 2nd District of Albay, League of Municipalities President Maria Fe Bubut Brondial, Secretary Judy Tagaywalo, Secretary Bernice Victorio, President Danilo Concepcion, thank you sir, Chancellor Michael Tan, Ambassador to the Netherlands, Mario Cristina Teresia Dirk. Binabati ko din po ang lahat ng mga VIPs na nandito para dumalo sa isang mahalagang salo-salo upang ilunsad ang UP Resilience Institute at ang UP NOAA Center. Ito po ay magiging pangunahing programa ng pamantasan ng Pilipinas sa disaster risk reduction at climate change adaptation. Binibigyan ko din po ng pagbati ang mga bata at matatalinong research scientists na ilang linggo na pong kulang ang tulog sa pagprepara para sa okasyon na ito kasama po ang mga karpintero na naglagay nitong logo na kanina po ay nahirapan silang maglagay para maging sentro. Binabati ko din po ang lahat ng mga nagbigay ng pagkain tsaka ang mga media, lights and sounds dahil lahat po ay sama-sama kaming gumawa para mailunsad ang Project NOAA at ang UP Resilience. Kami po ay na nagagalak na merong ikatlong ang hangarin namin na makapagsilbi sa bayan. Kasama po ng dekado at mga tapat ng Project NOAA at mga faculty ng UP mula sa iba't ibang campus, gagawin namin ang aming makakaya upang makatulong sa ating kapwa. Ito ay walang pag-iimbot na pag-aalay sa sambayanan. Alam natin na ang kalikasan ay minsan marahas at kailangan natin na mabuhay kasama ang panganib na ito. Mangyayari lamang ito kung tayo ay magtutulong-tulong at gagamit ng ating upang iwasan ang dilubyo. Sa 5 taon na tinagal ng Project NOAA upang malabanan ang disasters, ilan ang aming naman at susubukan maging gabay sa paglaban sa bagsik ng kalikasan. Iisa-isahin ko po ang ilan sa mga ito. Napag-alaman po namin na kapag importante. Dalawa po ang importante. Ang warning na binibigay ng gobyerno, ito po ay dapat reliable, understandable, accurate, and timely. This is the responsibility of government. Kailangan po ito ay nagagawa na opisyal at naipapahatid sa mga taong bayan ng tamang panahon. Pero ito po ay kailangan match o kasama ng appropriate response na mas mahirap gawin dahil ito po kasama ng awareness, building, engagement ng mga tao, long-term education, access sa mga tamang mapa, at saka overall na pagpalit ng ating kultura para tayo ay maging mas ganap na handa at safe ang ating culture. Importante po ito, dalawang bagay, kasi kung hindi po magagampanan ng isa, lahat po ng ating efforts ay magiging baliwala. Dapat gamitin ang pinakamagandang teknolohiya at siyensya. Ito po ang pangalawang napag-aralan namin na nakita namin na napaka-importante. Palagi natin dapat sinasaliksik ang pinakabago at pinakamagandang paraan para maiwasan ang masamang epekto ng hazards. Ang kaalaman na ito ay dapat ipinamamahagi para mapakinabangan ng maraming tao. Hindi ito pinagdadamot para sa sariling kapakanan. Dapat sinasaliksik ang bawat dilubyo. Disasters unfold in different ways and we only know the lessons once they have happened. Ito ay walang katapusang pag-aaral. Ang disaster data, ito po ang pangatlo. Ang disaster data at impormasyon ay dapat libre, accessible sa lahat. Ito po ang tinatawag na open data. At pag sinabi pong open data, kailangan open data. Dapat po sinusunod ang definisyon nito, hindi po yung sinasabi na open data na hindi naman. Ito po ay kinakailangan dahil sa panahon ng emergencies, data should be accessible. Aanhin mo ang datos at impormasyon kung hindi ito aabot sa tao kung kailan ito kinakailangan. Pang-apat, kailangan na ang bawat komunidad ay preparado at planado na maigi gamit ang pinakamagandang kaalaman sa natural hazards at climate change. Disaster risk is an unresolved problem of development. Kung ang development plans, gaya ng comprehensive land use plans, comprehensive development plans, climate and disaster management plans ay hindi wasto, ang bawat disaster ay pipigil sa pag-unlad ng ating bayan. Kailangan ang local capacity and local resources. Ito po ay napaka-importante. Bakit ko po sinasabi yan? Dahil wala po tayong ibang pinakamabuting maaasahan kung hindi ang ating sarili. Kailangan po, kahit sa gera, kahit sa disaster, kailangan po tayo ang gumagawa ng tulong sa ating sarili. Huwag po tayong aasa sa iba kasi tayo ang pinakamaigi at pinakamagaling na makakatulong sa ating sarili. Kasama po natin pero okay lang humingi ng tulong. Okay lang din po yun. Ang DSWD nandito po. Okay po humingi ng tulong. Pag disaster, you're on your own. Okay po kumalap ng mga impormasyon at kaalaman mula sa ibang bansa. Pero pagdating sa dulo, ang importante po ay tayo ang gagawa para sa ating sarili. Kasama po natin dito ang mga miyembro ng gobyerno, media, private sector, estudyante, NGOs at akademiko na binubuo ng mga scientists, social scientists, linguists at mga taong taga-sining. Ang pagtitipon po nito ay napakahalaga. Bilang isang scientist na nag-aaral ng dilubyo, hindi po ako weirdo, nag-aaral lang po ako ng dilubyo, yun po ang aking interest. Batid ko po ang kahalagahan nitong araw na ito dahil alam ko na sa mga susunod na taon ay iigting ang ating problema sa masungit na kalikasan. Dapat po tayong magsama-sama, pagkahalagahan ang siyensya at teknolohiya at higit sa lahat, pagkahalagahan ang mga taong kumakatawan nito at mga taong napagsisilbihan. Gamitin po natin ang kaalaman sa abot ng ating makakaya dahil sa huli ito lang po ang ating maaasahan para mailigtas ang ating buhay, ang buhay ng ating mga minamahal at ng ating mga kababayan. Mabuhay po ang UP Resilience Institute at mabuhay po ang UP NOAA Center. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you, Dr. Lagmay, for that very inspiring message. You know, everything he said, he probably wrote that, but it is from the heart, because this is a constant conversation that we have every single day of how data should be free, it should be accessible to the general public. So this is something that are very, very close to our hearts. So thank you very much, Dr. Lagmay. The next personality I'm about to introduce is truly an admirable leader, instrumental in making UPRI a reality. He is an administrator, academic, and visionary. He finished his undergrad as summa cum laude and topped the board exams for agricultural engineering. He graduated law in UP as cum laude and was a top-notcher in the bar examinations of 1983. He received his Master's of Law degree from the University of London in 1986 as a scholar of the British government. He has served as Associate Dean of the UP College of Law, Head of the UP Law Center, Director of the Institute of Judicial Administration, and the UP Vice President for Legal Affairs. A law professor, a bar reviewer, corporate law practitioner, the Dean of the UP College of Law, ang abogado ng bayan, and the father of the UP family, our UP President, Danilo Concepcion.
President Pascual, Representative Joey Salceda, Ambassador Maria Cristina Teresia Turks of the Netherlands, Secretary Judith Aguiwalo, mga kasama ko sa University of the Philippines System, fellow UP professors, colleagues, and esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Welcome to the University of the Philippines, our country's national university, and the only one so far, the center of convergence and home of the nation's best and brightest servants of the Filipino people. Here in UP, we do not only teach and exemplify the virtues of honor, excellence, and service to the people. We know all of this by heart. While these enduring values and the goals of holistic development through collaborative work guide our everyday thoughts and deeds, I must add that we in UP profess and promote the importance of life in general, but especially of human life, of dignified and meaningful human life. It is in this light that I warmly greet you in tonight's formal launch of the UP Resilience Institute, or UPRI. I was not the one who created this institute. It was created by my predecessor, President Pascual. Siguro po ay merong nagbulong sa kanya na bibitawan na ng DOST ang Project NOAA. At bilang paghahanda na ito ay ampunin ng ating universidad, ginawa po ni President Pascual ang Resilience Institute. We are truly grateful to the UP Board of Regents for approving the creation of UPRI last July 2016 and for officially adopting Project NOAA and establishing it as a center under UP last March 2017. We likewise acknowledge and appreciate the indispensable contributions of our partner agencies, institutions, organizations, offices, and individuals who continue to support UP's climate change actions and disaster risk reduction-related initiatives. Your passion, commitment, and affirmative response to work with UPRI and UP NOAA Center further inspires us to make strides in making UPRI into a truly proactive organization that our people can depend upon to provide vital life-saving information related to climate change actions and disaster risk reduction efforts. Sabi ko, parang nagliwanag ang bulwagan. Kaya po pala nagliwanag ang bulwagan ay sapagkat pumasok si Senadora Loren Legarda. She is the UN Global Champion for Resilience. Magandang gabi po, Senadora. The UPRI, with the UP NOAA Center as a core component, commits to provide sustainable, inclusive, and multidisciplinary approaches and responses to our country's disaster problems. From tonight's formal launch, we can look forward to more of the UPRI's vital contributions in producing effective and efficient capacity-building programs which are essential in forming development plans that will benefit our countrymen, especially the poor and other marginalized sectors of our society. This is what the UPRI and the UP NOAA Center are committed to. The upliftment of the lives of our countrymen is our commitment. And UPRI and UP NOAA Center are committed to make our lives safe. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, President Concepcion. Now, I have the honor of introducing our next speaker, who will deliver a very important message, who is chiefly responsible for the passage of several landmark laws. Now on her third term in the Senate, she chairs the Senate Committees on Climate Change and Finance. Her inspiring advocacy on environmental protection has earned her the global recognition. She's named as among the global leaders for tomorrow by the World Economic Forum and a laureate and among the global 500 Roll of Honor of the UN Environment Program. Appointed as UNISDR Global Champion for Resilience, recognized in her commitment to the fight against climate change and to the promotion of culture and heritage, the French government bestowed upon her the title of Knights in the French National Order of the Legion of Honor. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all put our hands together in welcoming one who conceived UPRI, the Honorable Senator Loren Legarda.
Hi, good evening to all of you. Took me almost the number of hours from Manila to Baguio to come here from Intramuros in the National Commission of Culture and Arts. And I actually have a prepared speech with PowerPoint. I'll just email it to the Office of President Danny Concepcion and just speak from the heart. First, I don't have to preach to the choir. We're all climate warriors here. We're all advocates for preparedness and disaster risk reduction. Second, I don't have to impress my alma mater, whom I'm partnering with. Third, I'm very grateful to former President Fred Pascual for having started this. When I talked to him about the importance of DRR and CCA, then he said, actually, I have a proposal. He said it hesitantly. And then that was in 2011, I think, and we gave some, but not enough. And I'm so grateful that we have a president like President Danny Concepcion, who has really embraced the issue of DRR and CCA to continue what was originally envisioned and to even make it grander and bigger and better so that the State University's Resilience Institute could be the core of climate governance and disaster risk reduction governance in our country today. I'm also grateful that Mahar is here with us for him to be able to operationalize all what we want to happen in our country. In the midst of so much turmoil in the world, in the midst of so much uncertainties and tension and conflicts in our country, sometimes we tend to relegate to the back burner or to the side what Joey Salceda and I have espoused for many, many years, if not decades. We see that while we talk about the Marawi crisis and it breaks our heart, the stories of the floods in Maguindanao did not reach national attention, and you would just see 30 seconds online or in television without realizing the importance of having prepared the vulnerable populations, having moved them if there was enough early warning at the time. What am I trying to say? That the two perhaps most important issues of our times today, the two greatest threats to our security as a nation and to the world, the greatest humanitarian challenges would be terrorism and climate change. And these are actually intertwined because the importance of changes in climate and poverty reduction and all the needs of our vulnerable populations is related to hardships and challenges which breeds terrorism. And so I hope that the establishment of the Resilience Institute in the University of the Philippines and all the campuses all over the country would spell this most important difference in their lives. Let me just state that before we even talk about resilience, what we need to do is to implement at least 8 important environmental laws in our country. We have my co-lawmaker here, probably as frustrated sometimes as I am, that the Clean Air Act is not implemented and efficiently implemented as we wish. That the Clean Water Act is far from being implemented with our water concessionaires and the major water systems of our country, especially in Luzon, like Laguna de Bay and Manila Bay and the Pasig River and its tributaries, are far from being clean. And the Manila Bay office, which Noel Garlan used to head in the DNR, knows this very well. When we know that RA 9003 of the solid waste management law, ecological solid waste management, where only 1/4 of our local governments of 1,600 LGUs is actually implementing it. And not very far from the University of the Philippines in 2009, 8 years ago, we knew that the trash slide in Payatas was the impetus that urged my colleagues then to help me enact the ecological solid waste management law. My challenge, President Danny, to the University of the Philippines is, let us be the front runner to be able to show that these laws, 3 of the 8 which which we authored since '98 could be implemented. If only UP could just not switch to a low carbon economy, but also could implement ESWM in every building, in every campus, in every area, then we could say that these laws could actually work. Now, we talk about resilience. I hope that the studies that will be done here at the UP Resilience Institute could be used by all campuses and could actually work together with the already created maps, let's say, of NAMRIA, of DANR, and the work started for DOST. I'm glad that NOAA is now embedded here in my alma mater so that we continue where NOAA had left off in DOST. When Mahar and I were meeting at the Polo Club in Makati a few weeks back, when we talked about what happened in Yolanda in 2013 on November 8, I asked him, as a scientist, as an engineer, why was it that we were not able to forewarn those living in the coastline that the several meters height which was predicted days before by Pag-asa did not actually, they were not prepared and they were not advised that how many kilometers it would go inland. And he said because the maps were static and did not talk about storm surge and were not probabilistic at the time. And so it is important that we put all of these experiences so that we're able to use our knowledge to make sure that science actually works for us. Many years ago, when I spoke before a group of scientists in Beijing, China, and I said that it's about time that scientists and technical experts go beyond the confines of the academe and we use all these well-funded knowledge so that local communities could be made resilient. And that's the great challenge for us in UP and for the Resilience Institute. Let me just go and just give you some bullet points of what you already know and which I expect the UP Resilience Institute would actually do. While we have multi-hazard early warning systems, what we need to do is institutionalize this in all the 81 provinces and 1,600 cities and municipalities. I'm not sure if every LGU in your region, Joey, or in my region, in Region 6, would actually have this multi-hazard early warning systems. We always speak in conferences and summits and meetings, but do all LGUs actually know what to do? Are they equipped not just with the knowledge, but the equipment needed and the warm bodies with sufficient knowledge to be able to communicate this important knowledge to the barangay tanods, to the barangay captains, to the fisher folks, to the farmers, to the elderly, and to the women. So it is also important that we are able to do impact forecast to convey to the public the probable scenarios on loss and damage from extreme weather. It is important that we don't just tell the public this is the hazard, this is the impact, but that we actually tell them this is the effect of this hazard to your lives. How many have we heard? Number of deaths, etc. And when you look about on the number of deaths, kasi pumulaot yung mangingisda. That means the early warning system did not really reach him, or bagamat alam niya, ay hindi niya naintindihan na mawawalan siya ng buhay pag siya'y pumalaot. It is important we also have our climate projection or our outlook, which I'm sure you're doing. And as I mentioned, the probabilistic approach, risk-based to local planning. Each local government in doing its local climate change action plan or its LCCAP. I think there are only a few hundreds of the 1,600 LGUs that have their local climate change action plan when the law was actually passed way back in 2009. And this is where I hope the UP Resilience Institute can help out all the other state universities and colleges. It is also important that every community, every household, and individual is able to understand early warnings and all the risks that it faces. I can go on and talk about what we expect of the Resilience Institute. I can also speak about the important adaptation plans which the Resilience Institute could teach our local governments. Out of the 822 coastal municipalities all over the country, of the 36,000 square kilometers, over 30 million hectares of the Philippine archipelago, it is the duty, the mandate, the challenge for the UP and its campuses to be able to reach out to these LGUs. You might say, wow, ang laki pala ng ating kailangan gawin. Yes. That's why I have committed to help the UP Resilience Institute to equip you not just with the building, not just with the equipment, not just with the personnel needed, but most important, to be able to connect you with all other agencies of government so that all of the studies, the maps, and everything that they've done in all these years, if not decades, should be given to you, lent to you, made accessible to you, so that with your information, you will be able to do not just early warning, but actually project the impact of natural hazards on our local, rural, vulnerable populations. I will no longer read my many notes on my phone here because Joey Salceda would already know all of this and he's supposed to give you a speech later. The reason why I'm also rushing is Secretary Piñol is waiting for me. Ginawa ko na dito yung appointment ko sa UP Via Mare. Alam nyo, budget season ngayon eh. Pag budget season, ang babait ng mga kabinete sa akin, di ba? Ganon. And no, but really, I'm glad that Secretary Piñol is waiting for me 1 hour already here in Via Mare so that I would ask him how the budget, you should have invited him, of the Department of Agriculture can really be seen as a climate resilient budget. Otherwise, pwedeng makailam ang UP Resilience Institute. So, sorry to disappoint you. I have a very good speech with all the PowerPoint. I'll just email it to you. And I believe that what you want to hear today is, are you really going to be supported by Congress? Would you really be able to realize your dreams of coming up with an institute that is not only comparable to the work of other agencies of government, but more importantly, that would address the needs of this third most vulnerable nation in the world? And my answer to you is yes. Just tell me what you want. It is important that you tell us what you want and what you need. First, there's so much funding agencies outside of government. The Netherlands government, the German government, EU, JICA, we can even access ADB, the World Bank, the recently approved or concurred in or ratified AIIB. But apart from that, we actually have so much funds in our 3.3 trillion budget. And my challenge to you, President Danny and Dr. Mahar and all of you guys in the RI, is to please help me, help the agencies prove that their budget is actually a resilient one. You know very well that DBM started a few years ago climate tagging their expenditures. I'm not sure if the climate tagging of the Public Works Department is actually correctly climate tagged, right, Joey? Ang ating mga kalsada, are the ditches sufficient? Do we actually have enough rainwater catchments? Do we actually implement the Rainwater Collection Act of 1989, where every barangay and local government should have rainwater collectors? Does the DepEd actually implement resilience in terms of the school buildings and the classrooms, in terms of wind direction and rainwater collection and gulayan sa paaralan and all these concepts. Even in the structure of the University of the Philippines in Diliman and in Metro Manila, in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, are we actually doing that? So the first order of day of UPRI is to look at its own backyard to make sure our buildings, our structures, infrastructure here are resilient. Do we actually recycle water here? Yun muna. Second, please help me work with all the SUCs so you help the SUCs help the LGUs for their LCCAP. And third, as we promised and what discussed, all the 822 coastal municipalities should be equipped not just with the tarpaulin or the soft copy and hard copy of the probabilistic maps or of the storm surge information or of the landslide information, but really for them to understand it so that resilience and DRR would be a way of life in an everyday habit for all these LGUs, whether they are coastal or they are terrestrial. And so I see people already tired and probably hungry. So I'd like to thank you for having me here today. And whether you invited me or not, and whether I made it here after 3 hours traveling from Manila, don't worry, you will have your budget. Just tell me what you need, okay? Capital outlay, MOOE. I want this in my next 2 years to be the most efficient, competent, admired, respected, and effective DRR CCA Institute in Asia and perhaps in the world. Thank you very much and good evening to all of you.
Thank you very much, Senator Salcedo, for that very inspiring message for the entire UP. Thank you very much, Senator Lolen Ligarda, for that very inspiring message. And earlier today, we presented you with a painting by Sir Neil, and we would like to show that same painting again to Senator Ligarda. So if I can call on Sir Neil Doloricon, back on stage, President Danny Concepcion, Dr. Mahar Lagmay, Representative Joey Sarte Salceda, Senator Ligarda, and Senator Loren Ligarda back on stage, please. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And thank you, Senator Loren Ligarda, for gracing us with your presence. And alam nyo, we are very, very thankful to Senator Ligarda na because she's a very big supporter of our organization. At kung hindi dahil sa kanya, marami sa amin ay wala ng sweldo ngayon at wala ng trabaho. So maraming salamat. No? Okay, as we continue to emphasize the crucial work the UPRI and NOAA Center will represent with reference to climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction, LAYAG will remind us of what disasters may bring. A trio composed of mostly Buklod members from UP band who performs music that tackles the environment, injustices, and other social realities. Members Rene Boncocan, Rom Dongeto, and Adi Saliva will play Nasa Atin ang Panahon, which is a song of encouragement and hope for us to protect and nurture our environment for our children's future. Let's all give a round of applause to Layag.
Sa kanya yan, dapat sa kanya. Same. Oh.
Maraming pong salamat sa pagkakataon na maging bahagi ng isang napaka-importanteng paglulunsad ng UPRI.
Nais kong makipaglaro sa alon, sumayaw tumalon sa ihip ng hangin, sisirin at libutin lalim ng karagatan, ngunit mananatili bang pangarap na lang?
Mga bata at buhay may lason at dugo, kailan kaya ito mahinto? Bawat tuwa ay papanaw, mga bata masasadlak sa hirap ng buhay.
Halinang likhain, itayo ang bukas para sa ating mga anak. Paghanda sila ng daigdig na sagana, nasa atin ang panahon. Mga dagat at ilog ay may lason at dugo, kailan kaya ito mahihinto? Isang araw bawat tuwa ay papanaw, mga batay masasadlak sa hirap ng buhay. Halinang likhain, itayo ang bukas para sa ating mga anak. Ipaghanda sila ng daigdig na sagana, nasa atin ang panahon. Para sa ating mga anak. handa sila lang daigdig na sagana. Nasa atin ang panahon, nasa atin ang lakas.
Sige po.
Thank you very much, Lag, for that very lovely presentation. Palakpakan naman po natin ulit si Layag. Okay, now for the next speaker, I'm very proud and honored to introduce him because he happens to be my relative. No? Our next speaker will deliver another very important message. He was the governor of Albay for 3 consecutive full terms from 2007 to 2016. He established the Climate Change Academy for LGUs in the Philippines through the Albay Circa as the institution for climate change concerns and the Local Climate Change Adaptation for Development, or LCCAD, for the propagation of knowledge and expertise in mainstreaming climate change adaptation. At present, he is the 2nd District Representative of Albay. Also, he is the Vice Chairman of the Committee on Appropriations, Senior Vice Chairman of the Committee on Ways and Means, Senior Vice Chairman of the Committee on Economic Affairs, Senior Vice Chairman of the Committee on Local Government, and Vice Chairman of the Special Committee on Climate Change. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all put our hands together in welcoming the Philippine green economist, seasoned veteran legislator, the lawmaker of constant kindness, Senior Global Champion in Climate Change Adaptation and Disaster Risk Reduction, the Honorable Joey Sarsarte Salceda.
Maraming salamat. Masyadong napaka-importante ng gabi, napakamaraming kailangang batiin. Siyempre, yung ating pong Senator Lauren Ligarda, ang aking pong laging partner pagdating po sa usapin ng environmental justice, pati na po ng climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction. Ambassador Maria Cristina Dereks, ma'am, the UP President Danny Concepcion, former President Pascual, Chancellor Michael Tan, Secretary Judy Tagiwalo of the DSWD, Executive Director Mahar Lagmay, former Senator Gerson Sani Alvarez, DOST Undersecretary Rene Solidum, and Secretary Vernice Victorio of the Climate Change Commission, and Undersecretary Noel Garland. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Mabuhay po ang University of the Philippines. Palakpakan po natin yun. Puro na uso na po yung speaking from the heart. Susunod na rin po ako. Alam niyo po, nakakatuwa dahil kung titingnan niyo po yung Albay po, we have practiced zero casualty as a policy goal since 1994. The first LGU to establish an institution, a permanent disaster management office was Albay in the entire Asia. So yung zero casualty namin, isipin nyo kung ano yung contribution po ng NOAA sa amin pong zero casualty dahil ginagawa na rin po namin ang zero casualty at sa 2 taon out of 22 years, sa 2 taon lang po kami nagkaroon ng casualty during a disaster. So, sa 2 taon na po yun, ang masasabi ko po, kung yung datig ang ginawa namin, nagsimula po kami sa isang institusyon. Ang tawag po ay Albay Public Safety and Emergency Management Office. So, nagsimula kami sa institusyon. Pangalawa, siguro pure passion. And 3, siguro good governance. Dahil talaga nilagay namin sa gitna ng aming pong ginagawa ng bawat na tao ay may dangal o human dignity. And therefore, ang converse po ng zero casualty is that each person deserves the right to live because he has human dignity. Yun po ang ibig sabihin ng zero casualty. So ano po yung contribution po? Dahil ako po nagsasalita dito bilang isang practitioner, bilang isang tao na dumaan po sa katakot-takot na mga disaster, pero hindi po nagkaroon ng epekto ang disaster sa amin pong pamumuhay. In fact, from 2009, yung amin pong poverty incidence of 41% ay naibaba po namin sa 15.2%. At yun ay ginawa namin sa pamamagitan po ng pag-confront bilang isang given na isang bulkan na hindi naman pwedeng paalisin. At pangalawa, siyempre na ang Albay po ay nasa doormat po ng mga bagyo, subalit po hindi naging dahilan o hindi po naging sagabal na ang inyong poverty incidence ay hindi mo kayang ibaba dahil nga po ipinasok nyo na po. So diyan po pumapasok ito pong ating NOAA Center. Kung dati po ay patsamba-tsamba kami, pero may institusyon at may puso, ngayon po ay naging science-based. Baliktad nga po, dahil yung paggamit ng siyensya sa pamamagitan ng isang programa na yun po ang NOAA Center. At para mas masabi ko sa inyo anong kinaibahan ng NOAA Center sa buhay naming ordinaryong mga albayano. Halos lahat po, paikot-ikot kami sa loob ng isang taon. 2 barangay, bawat araw, ang nire-refresh namin paikot-ikot every single day of the year kung paano paggamit po ng internet para sila mismo mas alam nila because sinasabi namin sa kanila na we will not be there to save them. Kasi nga po, kailangan ang self-reliance, which is actually, yan po ang masabi nating twin ng resilience, ay kailangan po i-built-in natin ang kapasidad sa loob po ng mga household. Kaya yun po ang ginawa namin. Sila, alam nila kung ano meron ang NOAA. Unang-una, timeliness. Talagang pag sinabing nakita namin na meron mangyayari at sinasabi na rin po siguro ng JTWC, lahat po kami pupunta na po doon sa link ng NOAA. At kahit ultimo pong barangay tanod sa Albay, alam po nila kung anong link ng NOAA at kung paano ito gamitin. Pangalawa, spatial dimensions. Nakikita namin kung saan tatama. So kung dati po, siguro, kahit nakikita namin yung dahil po sa satellite na mayroong parating pong isang hazard. Subalit, sa ngayon, sa pamamagitan po ng NOAA, ay kami po ay nakapagtipid. Yun po siguro ang pinakamalaking kinaibahan. Kung dati na-achieve namin ng zero casualty, na hindi po ganun ka-science-based, ngayon sa paggamit po ng siyensya ay mas nakatipid po ang probinsya ng Albay at yung resources na na-free up po ay nagamit po namin para sa mga development-inducing na mga programa po ng aming probinsya. Spatio-temporal dimensions po ang meron ng NOAA. Maliban po sa pagiging accessible sa lahat at madali pong ituro, kahit ordinaryong barangay tanod po, ay kaya po nilang gamitin ito upang ma-save nila ang sariling buhay. Kaya malaki po ang utang na loob ng probinsya ng Albay at sa pangalan po ng lahat ng mga Albayano, ako'y pumunta rito upang iparating ang dakilang pasasalamat tulad po ng UP na inampon. May inampon din po ako ng mga climate change warriors tulad po ng Local Climate Change Adaptation for Development na ngayon po ay nasa loob ng aking opisina at lagi pong bisita si Mahar at wala po kami ginagawa kundi gamitin ang teknolohiya at ang knowledge, ang skills, pati na po ang attitude o culture na siya pong ini-induce ng NOAA Center nung sila po ay atin pong ginagamit sa panahon po simula ng 2012. Napakalaki po ng pagbabago sa aming pong pamumuhay. Naging mas madaling harapin ang climate change. At hindi lang po yung sinasabi nating spatio-temporal aspects ng isang disaster, kundi pati na po ang complex interaction with geological factors like tulad namin na meron po kami mayong volcano kung saan ang buong katawan ay potentially lahar. Sa mga tuwid, pag dumarating po ang bagyo o ang maraming ulan na walang pangalan, kayang-kaya na po namin gawin ng paraan, hindi lang po sa pag-evacuate, kundi sa pamamagitan po ng pag-resettle. Halos 90% na po ng lahat ng tao na nakatira po sa loob ng 6-kilometer permanent danger zone ay na-relocate po namin. Kaya nga po itong resilience, siguro tama lang. Dahil po sa laki ng problema ng ating political economy sa Pilipinas, sa laki po ng kailangan nating harapin na mga problema pagdating po sa knowledge gap o technology gap, ay dadaan po tayo sa epekto ng disaster. Kung isipin po, ang tunay na pangalan po ng UPRI ay UP Sustainability Institute. Kasi bakit ka pa naman dadaan sa maraming patay para bumangon ulit? Yan po ang meaning ng resilience. Subalit para sa akin po, dahil hindi maiwasan sa ating pong panahon, sa ating pong lipunan, na meron tayong isang political economy kung saan hindi maiwasan dahil po sa social injustice at hindi makatarungang mga balangkas sa ating pong pamumuhay, ay dadaan-daan ka talaga. Ang pinaka-appropriate na word po talaga ay resilience dahil po sa ating po sa konteksto kung saan kinakailangan harapin namin. So bilang ganti sa ating pong NOAA Center at UPRI, unang-una susuportahan ko bilang Vice Chairman po ng mababang kapulungan o malaking kapulungan, dahil doon po naman nagsisimula ang budget, pasisiguraduhin ko po kung anong naisingit ni Loren ay hindi po matatanggal. Para po sa UPRI. Kung isipin po, dahil hindi ako senador, mas magaling po ako magdagdag kaysa kanya. Pangalawa, ako po ay nasa gitna, alam naman po ng ating UP President, ng ilan po na mga policy initiatives. Dahil po meron na po, kaninang umaga, ewan ko papunta ako rito, nag-text na po yung aming pong Committee on Science na minamadali po ng aming speaker, yung Science for Change, kung saan po ang number 1 na paggamit ng siyensya. Ito po ay isang 672 billion na programa kung saan halos gagawin dito sa UP at iba po ng mga Regional Development Institutes na unang-una ay para sa food security at di talaga maiwasan dahil po sa sitwasyon ng ating pong lipunan. Pangalawa po ay ang disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation. Yun po ang pangalawang pinakamalaking paggagamitan ng teknolohiya at siyensya at ng ating pong research and development. Ang pangatlo po na aking pong may tutulong dito po sa ating pong UPRI at bilang ganti sa malaking tulong sa dami po ng buhay na nasave namin doon sa Albay, kung saan po naging isang malaki at lahat ng tao nagkaroon po ng tiwala sa gobyerno. Kaya po sabay-sabay namin nagawa na may baba ang aming po poverty incidence. Hindi po magagawa yan kung hindi mo po hahabulin ang zero casualty. Sana po, ang ating pong UPRI at ang NOAA Center, dahil po binubunsod nila ang zero casualty, maging isang haligi po para sa ating lipunan na pag ibinunsod mo po ang zero casualty, parang you go for Miss Universe. When you go for Miss Universe, almost all the other factors, lahat ng peklat, nakakalimutan mo na kasi gusto mo maging Miss Universe. Gagawin mo ang lahat. Kaya para sa akin po, napaka-importante po na ang ating pong UPRI at NOAA Center ay klaro sa kanilang gustong gawin. At yun po ang zero casualty during times of disaster. Dahil ang meaning naman po talaga ng resilience is the strategy so that development can proceed amidst all the risks, whether geological, meteorological, or any other combination of human error or human whatever. So, yan po ang pangatlo ko po siguro na may aambag. Dahil po siguro kahit ako isang atinista, pero ako po isang proud na talagang yung una ko pong malalaking reforma ay galing po lahat sa UP. Kahit ayaw nyo kay Gloria, pero po yung fiscal reform no 2005, ang may mga pasimuno po ay taga-UP. Halos lahat po ng mga magagandang patakaran. Yung inyong Science Centrum na nilagay dito noong 2006. Yung pagangat po ng budget para sa siyensya, mula 0.2% to almost 1.4%, ang halos lahat itinambak ng dating Pangulo dito sa UP. Yun po dahil sa pag-joke ng aking tatay-tataya na si Emil Q. Javier ng NAST. At lahat naman po yan ay napunta sa UP. Kaya hindi po ako nahihiya na humarap sa mga taga-UP at sabihin sa akin pong puso, ako'y taga-UP din.
Maraming salamat Kong Joey sa inyong suporta. Meron po tayong susunod na performance, no? So our next artist to perform is Professor Ferdinand Ferdy Pisigan Harin, an award-winning writer who also creates official soundtracks for many documentary films. He is currently a faculty at the Departamento ng Filipino at Panitikan ng Pilipinas of the UP College of Arts and Letters. He did an original composition on resilience, especially for UPRI. Entitled Muling Pagbangon, it suitably articulates hope, hence triumph over the fatal devastation wrought by catastrophic events through the merging and commitment of various academic disciplines. Let us all give him a round of applause, please.
Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. 3 weeks ago po, nagpunta kami ng ilang kasamang profesor sa Tacloban from the College of Arts and Letters sa Filipino Department. At nakita namin yung mass grave doon ng mga taga-Tacloban. At hindi namin napigilang umiyak as in yung iba humagulhol. So na-realize ko na sana hindi na, naisip ko na, at nahiling ko rin na sana hindi na maulit ang ganito. Ito yung tumatakbo sa utak ko nung sinabi ng resilience na gawan ko sila ng opisyal na kanta. Pero kailangan ko rin ng audience participation doon sa chorus. Okay lang ho ba? Tuturo ko sa inyo yung chorus. Ito yung lyrics ha. Lilipas din ng lindol at bagyo sa buhay nyo. Kayo nga po. Lilipas din ng lindol at bagyo sa buhay nyo. Sa magkatuwang nating pipigilin ang mga pagguho. Kayo naman po. Magkatuwang nating pipigilin ang mga pagguho. Muli tayong makakabangon. Kayo ba? Muli tayong makakabangon. Muli tayong makakasulong. Muli. O bayan ko. O bayan ko. Masungit ang panahon sa atin, nawawasak na bahay, maraming namamatay. Tangi nating panlaban, dapat maging handa. Katulong ang siyensya, pati ang teknolohiya. Huwag isiping ika'y nag-isa, may tutulong at sasama. Lilipas din ang lindol at bagyo sa buhay nyo. Magkatuwang nating pipigilin ang mga pagguho. Muli tayong makakabangon. muli tayong makakasulong, o bayan ko, o bayan ko. Merong araw na tila ang buhay malupit, sakuna at trahedya at sari-saring sakit. Tangi nating panlaban, dapat maging handa, katulong ng sining at pagiging makatao. Huwag isiping ika'y nag-isa, may tutulong at sasama. Wow! Lilipas din ng lindol at bagyo sa buhay nyo. Magkatuwang nating pipigilin ng mga pagguho. Muli tayong makakabangon, muli tayong makakasulong. Okay naman, yung pinractice natin. Lip. Laban ang lalakas yan. Resilience! Pipigilin ang mga pagguho. Muli tayong makakabangon, muli tayong makakasulong. Wow! Lilipas din ang lindol at bagyo sa buhay nyo. Pagkatuwang nating pipigilin ang mga pagguho. Muli tayong makakabangon, muli tayong makakasulong, muli tayong makakabangon, muli tayong makakasulong. O bayan ko, o bayan ko, o bayan ko, o bayan ko. Lilipas din ng lindol at bagyo sa buhay nyo. Magkatuwang nating pipigilin ng mga pagguho. Muli tayong makakabangon, muli tayong makakasulong, o bayan ko, o bayan ko. Maraming salamat po. Oh, mabuhay ang UPITDC Institute. Mabuhay Project Noah. Maraming salamat, Professor Lagmay. Oh!
Thank you very much for that very wonderful song on disaster resilience. So, our last speaker is a well-renowned and well-respected anthropologist here and abroad, and is the Chancellor of UP Diliman. Let me call on Chancellor Michael Tan, please.
Ako po ang huling speaker. These are closing remarks, which I think itself will be very good news for you. No? Hindi ko na ulitin ang pagbati dito, given that we have so many distinguished guests, and I do not have a list of the guests. I'm afraid I might forget someone. But I did want to greet everyone again. The fact na ang daming-daming mga distinguished guests natin who come from all sectors, kasama ng Dutch ambassador. We have several people from the legislature, one senator, one ex-senator, of course, si Congressman Salceda, and people from all kinds of local government agencies. I saw a few people from civil society. At syempre, ang kasama ko dito sa UP, kaming tagalingkod nga dito sa project na ito. No? We are honored here in UP Diliman that the Resilience Institute and NOAA are based here in Diliman. No? We are glad to provide a home for the two institutes. No? It's only appropriate, of course, because we are a comprehensive university. We have many programs, and I did want to maybe break it down when we say science and technology. Hindi lang isang, it's actually many different institutes and departments. No? And I'm hoping that the Resilience Institute and NOAA, the NOAA project will bring in all these institutes to work together. Just to give a very concrete example, katulad nga ng EEE, Electrical and Electronic Engineering, they have been developing a mobile system to bring signals to areas that do not have the signals nga. And so in times of disasters, they can bring in their technology, which will be so important for our disaster responses. I think, of course, of the Diwata microsatellite, our very first Filipino-made microsatellite going around in space, which will of course enhance the work of NOAA. And I think of the social sciences. Being a social scientist, I'm proud to say that we had contributions from anthropologists. I don't know if our anthropologists are still working with Project NOAA. Did they keep their jobs? No? There were at least 2 in there. We were able to mobilize people from geography, from linguistics. Natandaan ko, right after Yolanda, DOST came to us asking if we could look into problems of communications, including looking for a word for storm surges. No? And we actually looked through many Philippine languages, no? But in the end, we decided storm surge na lang because Yolanda itself had imprinted those words in people's minds. No? I think in the future, we need to draw in people from history. It's very strange that people seem to have short memories of disasters despite their terrible impact. No? One of my students in anthropology did his work on Mayon and Albay. Despite the many volcanic eruptions, people seem to remember more the times when they were able to escape the wrath of Mayon rather than the deaths. No? We have architecture and their resilient homes. We have archaeology, surprisingly doing work on the remains of the dead. No? Medyo morbid. No? We have the arts coming in that can help to produce a nicer video in the future. We have education, we have NCPAG doing public administration, at nandito rin, wala na si Secretary Judy Tagiwalo, we have community work and community development. All the institutions will come together to work together. Umalis na si Senator Legarda, but I wanted to assure everyone here that Diliman is, of course, committed to keeping the bridges with the 7 other CUs of UP system. After Yolanda happened, we took in 200 students from UP Tacloban, but of course, our idea of cooperation here is to work together for resilience. No? And as the national university, we are committed to working with the bigger public school system. Tanggap namin na kami po ay isang public school at may pananagutan kami dito, lalo pa sa disaster resilience, to work together with the SUCs and the local government colleges. And of course, we want to bring our work down to the level of public schools at the elementary and secondary level. We sometimes forget the importance of those levels. I have seen the many products that came out of Project NOAA and have learned a lot from it. I've learned also from our debates on data use, and I'm glad to say that the views of the administration of Diliman converge beautifully with those of Mahar, which was for an open data policy. And we are committed to keeping that open data policy. Madalas ang tinutukoy dito sa mga projects natin, NOAA, especially NOAA, is it tends to be associated with maps, and we know the maps are important. But I will tell you here that the first time I saw the maps, I could not understand what the maps were all about. And I realized later on, the full impact of the maps came upon me when I saw a map of the UP Diliman campus and realized that we had creeks and all kinds of waterways underneath UP Diliman. UP Diliman is very soggy. We are really one big marshland. And it helped me to understand why last year may 3,000 mga bisita kami from the national minorities. Nagtayo kami ng kampuhan para sa kanila and we could not use it because we are inundated by water. Ang kampuhan ay naging kangkungan. And that was when I realized the importance of these maps. Recently, I got another perspective on the maps. I'm explaining what UP Diliman hopes to do. And this is when the DREAM project sent me proofs. May ginagawa silang libro tungkol sa mga river systems that they have been surveying. And the books were beautiful. There were the maps, but there were also pictures of the rivers and the people living around them. I learned that there is a river in Mindanao. Ang pangalan niya, pag na-translate ito, ay kung saan naririnig ang tunog ng agong, which is a musical instrument. This is the kind of work we want to do here in UP Diliman. The technologies that we have here for disaster resilience will also be made more practical, more appreciated by people when we bring in these stories. Early on after Yolanda, the word resilience was criticized, mainly because it was being used over and over again by foreign correspondents, marveling at Filipinos who were smiling even with water up to their necks. And I appreciated the reservations we had. Resilience should never mean that people are happy anyway, lalo pang mga mahihirap pagdating ng disasters, kayang-kaya naman nakangindi. That should never be our definition of resilience. The Resilience Institute in Diliman and NOAA will show that our definition of resilience goes back to reducing risks and vulnerabilities, that we will not accept smiling faces that mask great suffering. We are committed to putting science and technology to service our responses of the communities. Congressman Salceda said na hindi na pa chamba-chamba. We will know what we are doing, and that is what resilience will be all about. UP, in its militant tradition, is committed to making disaster resilience as part of our continuing campaigns for social justice and human dignity. Maraming salamat sa inyo.
Thank you, Chancellor Tan, for that wonderful message. We are proud to be here in Diliman and we're very happy to be under your watchful eye. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the conclusion of our program. It has been a fruitful night, and we would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us and making this event relevant and a success. We'd also like to thank the UP Information Technology Development Center under the Office of the Vice President for Development for providing us with a live video stream found in our Facebook page. So mga kaibigan, patapos na po tayo. At kung maaari po, gusto nyo sabayan sa pagsigaw. Mabuhay po ang UP NOAA Center! Ulitin natin, mabuhay ang UP NOAA Center! Mabuhay ang UPRI! Mabuhay po ang ating sambayan ng pinaglilingkuran at kayong mga nakikisa sa adhikayang ito. Thank you very much. So let's all stand up for the UP naming mahal and the exit of the colors by the UP Vanguard.